Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Bethany. If you're new here, I make content about books, lifestyle, all the things. Today's video, we are going to do a very ambitious October TBR. Just a quick note, my reading goal for this year is to read 75 books, which is very attainable for me. But as you all know, I had such a whirlwind of a year. And in order for me to accomplish that goal, I will need to average about 15 books a month just to make sure I reach that goal. Am I really that pressed about it? No, I'm not, because I understand all the circumstances that I was in this year has completely caused me to fall behind, but I'm going to try. With that being said, I think I have the most books on this TBR that I'm going to try my best to read in order to at least kind of like get me going. It is still a little bit less than 15 books because me reading 15 books a month is just, it's not feasible for my lifestyle, but I'm going to try my hardest. So without further ado, we have 10 books on the list and let's go ahead and get into it. The first book we have here is The Lake by Natasha Preston. This is a thriller, and this one says, welcome to Camp Pine Lake, where the only thing scarier than a ghost story is the past coming to haunt you. Esme and Kayla once were campers at Camp Pine Lake. Now they're back as counselors in training. Esme loves the little girls in her cabin and think it's funny how scared they are of everything. The woods, the bugs, the boys, even swimming in the lake. It reminds her of how she and Kayla used to be before.
Mommy.
Yes.
Hey, baby.
Go tell Daddy.
What Ava say?
She boo-boo.
I want to take a bath.
Look how she's showing you. Okay.
I need to take a bath. I need to take a bath.
You're going to take a bath.
I need to play.
Come on.
I want to take a bath.
Sorry, brief intermission. All right, I think we stopped at even swimming in the lake. It reminds me of how she and Kayla used to be before. Because Esme and Kayla did something terrible when they were campers, something that they kept a secret all these years. They vow that this summer will be awesome. 2 months of sun, s'mores, and flirting with the cute boy counselors. But when they get a message, the lake never forgets. But then, sorry y'all, I just got so distracted by my babies. But then they get a message, the lake never forgets. The secret they kept buried for so many years is about to resurface. So we're starting off strong with the thriller, you guys. And you know, October is coming up. Even though I'm not like a spooky girl, Halloween girl, there is nothing more fitting for the season than a thriller. Next book we have here is The Dating Playbook by Farah Rochen, I believe. Look at the cover first of all. It's so cute. So it says, 2 best friends, 1 fake boyfriend. When it comes to personal training, Taylor Powell kicks serious butt. But it seems no matter how much hustle she puts into her business, the bills keep piling up. And now this money situation is dire. She's going to need more help than her best friend Samia in London can give her. She needs a miracle. And Jamar Dixon might just be it. The oh so fine former footballer wants back in the NFL, and he's convinced Taylor can get him in shape for it. There's just one catch. No one can know she's training him. When they're spotted together by a journalist, Taylor blurts the first thing that comes into her head, that she's Jamar's girlfriend. Now her game plan is turned completely upside down, and she suddenly can't tell whether Jamar is playing to win or playing for keeps. First of all, I think this is probably going to be my next read. If it's not going to be a thriller, this will probably be the next book I read, because the synopsis, the cover, everything, I'm just itching to get to my hands on these pages, y'all. The next book we have is If We Were Perfect by Anna Huang. This one says, 2 exes, 1 house, what could go wrong? Olivia had a plan, MBA and Wall Street VP by 32, plus marriage and 2 children, preferably twins because #efficiency. Not in her plan, losing half her belongings in an apartment flood and being forced to turn to her ex for help. Definitely not in her plan, moving into said ex's house and watching him walk around shirtless, bake her cupcakes, and look at her with those smoldering, wait, what was she talking about again? Between his bakery and meddling family, Sammy has enough on his plate without bringing the exes he's never been able to forget into the mix. But when Olivia asks for his help, he can't say no. He could, however, make her regret breaking his heart as long as he doesn't do anything foolish like sneak into her room and kiss her senseless. As passion slowly replaces their animosity, Sammy and Olivia discover their past isn't what it seems and their future is anything but certain. Can they overcome their pride and give love a second chance, or is history doomed to repeat itself? As you all know, I'm a big fan of Anna Quain's writing, so I have no doubt that this book will definitely meet the expectations that it's already given. All right, so we have Watch Me by Tahiri Mafi. Actually, I think this is going to be the next book I read once I'm done with Hurricane Summer. As you all know, I wanted to squeeze this book into September, but September has been a blast for me and not enough reading. So I was not able to finish this book. I'm trying to finish Hurricane Summer before September is over, and today is September 29th, so I really only have one more day. But I think this will be the next one because I did already have in my mind I was going to read this first. So this one says, James Anderson had a plan, or half of one. All that matters is he has managed to do what his older brother, the famous Aaron Warner Anderson, never did: infiltrate Ark Island, the last refuge of the reestablishment. No outsider has breached the stronghold of the authoritarian regime, but James is in a prison cell, sure, but as far as James is concerned, a win is a win. This happens 10 years since the fall of the reestablishment. And Shatter Me series, if you haven't read that series, please go do that. When the notorious duo Juliet and Aaron Warner Andersons led a worldwide rebellion and established a new republic of the West, but the reestablishment is ready to make a devastating move, and they have the perfect assassin for the job, whom is Rosabelle Wolf. And she's always has a plan. On Ark Island, where constant surveillance is packaged as security, even emotions must be experienced with caution. And when she's given an order to kill, she never hesitates. Brimming with pulse-pounding action and torturous romance, Watch Me is the first book in the #1 series set in the #1 best-selling Shatter Me universe that demands an answer to a desperate question: who are we when no one is watching? The cover is stunning. I'm absolutely obsessed with the entire Shatter Me universe covers, with the eye, with the color palette. Like, this book is so stunning to me. And more than likely, once I do like a judge up on my bookshelves, I'm gonna have to find a way to display this one like front and center because it's gorgeous. The next book we are definitely going to get to in the month of October is Fearful by Lauren Roberts. As you all know, this is the novella that's wrapping up the entire Powerless series. And this one, I believe, is following Mara, and she returns back to Elea. And I don't quite know if this is going to be like past, the present, or maybe in the future, wherever Kit is. In the abyss. I don't know, but this is the novella to that book, and it is Mara's point of view. All right, so this book has been sitting on my bookshelf for quite a while. It is The Baddest Obsession by Danielle Laurie. It is the Made series, and this is the first of this author that I'm ever reading, but it has been sitting on my bookshelf for a while. When I was shopping my bookshelf trying to figure out which books I wanted to prioritize for the month of October, I saw this. I'm like, I think it's time. I think it's time for us to go ahead and get into this. I don't even know what it's about, so let's go ahead and read it together. It says, her dresses are too tight, her heels too tall. She laughs too loudly, eats without decorum, and mixes up most sayings in the book. Little do most know, it's just a sparkly disguise there to hide one panic attack at a time. Nobody can crack Gianna's facade. No one anyway, until he comes along. Mostly a paragon of morality, a special agent upholding the law in the New York underworld. Others know him as a hustler, a killer, his nature as cold as the hearts of ice in his chest. Christian Alistair has always followed the life plan he envisioned in his youth, beneath the harsh lights of a frigid damp cell. With a proclivity for order in the number 3, he's never been tempted to veer off course, but perhaps one should never say never. One winter night in their lives intertwined, she hates him, his stone-cold demeanor, his arrogance, and too perceptive eye. But over the years, Even as their games consist of insulting each other's looks and intelligence, she begins to play with him. Nowhere in Christian's plans had he ever prepared for Gianna. She's chaos embodied, not his type, and married, but none of that can stop his eyes from following wherever she goes. All along, she doesn't even know that she's his frustration, his fascination, his maddest obsession. Need I say more? This is definitely my type of speed, and I just cannot wait to get into this one. I think it's time for me to insert maybe a round of applause here, because I have a couple of Emily Henry books on my shelves, and y'all, I had yet to read any Emily Henry books. To be quite honest with you, I'm very nervous because it's just so many mixed reviews about her books. I had as you all know, a very terrible experience. My first book I read of Tessa Bailey, and I absolutely hated it. And for some reason, I keep putting Emily Henry in Tessa Bailey's category. And I don't know if it's because some people absolutely adore Tessa Bailey, but that one book I've read of hers, like, completely was like, I will never read another book of hers again, unless you all really beg to differ. But for some reason, I am petrified to read an Emily Henry book. But I did hear beach read, if I'm going to read an Emily Henry book, to start with this one. So that's what we're going to do. Though the summer is over and we are now in fall, and maybe I should have read this maybe in July, maybe in August, early September maybe, but I did not do it. So I know this season has passed, but we're going to try to finally read an Emily Henry book. So this says, August Everett is an acclaimed author of literary fiction. January Andrews writes best-selling romance. When she pens A Happily Ever After, he kills off his entire cast. They're polar opposites. In fact, the only thing they have in common is that for the next 3 months, they're living in neighboring beach houses, broke and bogged down with writer's block. Then one hazy evening, one thing leads to another, and they strike a deal designed to force them out of their creative ruts. Augustus will spend the summer writing something happy, and January will pen the next great American novel. She'll take him on field trips worthy of any rom-com montage, and he'll take her to interview surviving members of backwoods death cult, obviously. Everyone will finish a book and no one will fall in love, really. I think this is cute. I really don't know what to expect. I'm actually very intimidated by this author. For some reason, I am so scared to read her books, but I think now it's time to peel the band-aid off and just dive in. Legend by Marie Lu. Y'all, this has also been on my bookshelf for such a long time. So I think it's time for us to go ahead and read it. It says, where's the synopsis of this book? It says, from different worlds, June and Day have no reason to cross paths until June's brother is murdered and Day becomes the prime suspect. In a shocking turn of events, the two uncover what has really brought them together and the sinister lengths to which their country will go to keep its secrets. So it really doesn't give much. So I don't really quite know how to feel or whether if I'm going to love this book or not, but I do know that this is highly rated on Goodreads, and I bought this book so long ago I can't even tell you how I came across this book, but I'm glad for us to uncover this book together. Y'all will be so proud of me because we have quite a few thrillers in this stack. The next one we're going to read is The House Across the Lake by Riley Sager. Again, it's about to be October. When you guys see this, it will be October, and it's only fitting that we have some thrillers going on, right? So it says, be careful what you watch for. Casey Fletcher, a recently widowed actress trying to escape a streak of bad press, has retreated to the peace and quiet of her family's lake house in Vermont. Armed with a pair of binoculars and several bottles of bourbon, she passes the time watching Tom and Catherine Boyce, the glamorous couple living in the house across the lake. They make for good viewing. A tech innovator, Tom is powerful, and a former model, Catherine, is gorgeous. One day on the lake, Cassie saves Catherine from drowning, and the two strike up a budding friendship. But the more they get to know each other, and the longer Casey watches, it becomes clear that Catherine and Tom's marriage isn't as perfect as it appears. When Catherine suddenly vanishes, Casey immediately suspects Tom of foul play. What she doesn't realize is that there is more to the story than meets the eye, and that shocking secrets lurk beneath the most placid of surfaces. I heard nothing but great things about this book, so I'm very, very excited to get into the story. Last but certainly not least, we have Somebody's Wife by Robbie Renee. I've also never read anything by this author, but I feel as though this is going to be really good. I feel as though this book might be on Kindle Unlimited, but I'm not 100% certain. I will definitely have to fact check myself. But this says, Gemma had me at hello, but she was somebody's wife. Dr. Ezekiel Green is ready to make a fresh start in a new city after divorce from his high school sweetheart. What was supposed to be a professional business dinner with a future colleague quickly transformed into love. A love at first sight encounter, or so he thought. Dr. Gemma Holliday was spirited, brilliant, beautiful, and another man's wife. Dr. Gemma Holliday had the perfect life, love, marriage, and family in the public's eye. But behind closed doors, betrayal and mundane monotony were suffocating. A marriage of situational necessity. What was supposed to be a pleasurable evening out with her sorority sisters abruptly transitioned to the one night stand of her dreams, or so she thought. I definitely feel as though this is going to be good, and definitely going to end up having us rooting for the mistress. Okay, what is the word for a man? Is it still mistress? Like, if he's sleeping with a married woman, would he be considered a mistress? Y'all help me out in the comments, because my mind is blank right now. Okay, friends, so this is all the books, guys, that we are going to try very hardest to read for the month of October. But for good measure, we are also going to squeeze in this book as well, The Pursuit of God by A.W. Tozer. If you want to count this book, this is really 11 books. So we are going to do our best. We are going to stop the doom scrolling so much. We are going to try to focus whatever spare time we have with reading our books and to accomplish our goal. Anyways, these are all the books that we're going to read for the month of October. If you guys have any other book suggestions y'all think that I would love over another, let me know in the comments below. But until next time, my friends, I will see you in the next video. Bye.